talking Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills after an anonymous agent questioned if Allen's new contract could turn out to be a burden for Buffalo. The agent said, "I was surprised to see the money that Josh Allen got. It might really be 3 years for $100 million, but he still has a thin resume, even accounting for his really good 2020. He's got a lot of weapons and a really good coach, but if they don't win the Super Bowl this next year or two, they might take a step back because his contract will force Buffalo to make some tough roster decisions elsewhere." So, Nick, let me ask you this. Allen's new deal, 6 years, $258 million. Is it more likely to be a bargain or a bust, in your opinion?
Oof. Well, bargain's going to be tough. It's arguably the best contract from a player's perspective ever given out in NFL history.
Sure.
Some would say Mahomes is better, but I think this is maybe the most player-friendly, best contract ever. So it's tough to make that a bargain. And I don't want to say I'm predicting it will be a bust, but I think it's far more likely to become an albatross than it is, oh, my God, good thing we signed him early because he would have been worth $60 million a year. And that's not because Josh Allen wasn't excellent last year. He was excellent last year. It's because last year was literally the only excellent year, not of his NFL career, of his football career. Josh Allen was not a great high school player. It's why he had no Division I offers. He was not a great junior college player. He was less than 50% completions. He was not a great college player. The best he ever did was second team Mountain West. He was a bad rookie and a mediocre second-year player. And then he was a spectacular third-year player. It is a hell of a bet the Bills are making that last year is going to be the level that he plays at for the next 10. Because Josh Allen doesn't have to get much better than he was last year. He's got to be a little less careless in some big spots. But if he plays at that level for the next decade, they'll be very happy with Josh Allen. But Greg, we've never seen a player take that type of leap year to year when there was no trajectory. Josh Allen's trajectory was very much the same since he was 13 years old and then went off the charts. Now, there was some growth rookie year to year two, because his rookie year he was bad, and year two he wasn't bad, he was okay. But that type of leap we don't typically see, and the Bills are banking on that is who he is going to be for the remainder of this 8-year pact they made with him.
Yeah, that's why for it to be a bargain, it's going to be really, really challenging. Like you said, you laid it all out. But I definitely don't think it's a bust. I think it's actually more closer to the bargain than it is the bust, simply because of what you just expressed, Nick. We've never seen a player make this type of a jump. And he does not have to make this type of a jump any longer. Like, he can just continue to improve. And there's always ways you can improve. You alluded to one of them. You got to be more protective of the football. You can't make those errant throws, those big arm decisions that he tends to make, because he has a big, strong, athletic arm, and he can fit it in and he can make it happen wherever he feels like, I got it. He has to be better in those situations. But he runs the ball really well. He's one of the smartest, and this is where they hang their hat on Josh Allen. They believe, out of the draft of guys that came out with him, he was the smartest quarterback in that draft. They believed in Josh Allen from the jump. They were expecting him to evolve into a really, really good football player, which is why they chose him. Now, did we all see it? Did they see it happening this quickly over the course of the 3 years, or really the 1 year that we saw, which was last year? No, but when you give quarterbacks what's necessary, Brian Dable, offensive play caller, they have a great relationship. Your head coach and you have a great relationship, you and McDermott. And then you support me with, give me another receiver. Give me a number one guy. That's right. He's been supported in every single way possible. They are really good in the situation they're in. And so I thought that it was smart and it was beneficial for them to lock him up now, because the potential the number's going to go up regardless if he gets any better or not. The number's going to continue to go up. So if he had this type of year in 1 or 2 years down the road, the price tag would have been even higher. Wilds.
That's right. That's right. So, Greg, and you've got your Packers stuff behind you, and it reminded me why I'm frustrated with the Packers organization. Because the Packers have been living in this great quarterback baton pass, like Favre to Rodgers and now maybe to Jordan. That's how they think it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works in the AFC East. The last Bills great quarterback was Jim Kelly. The last Dolphins great quarterback was Dan Marino. Who was the last Jets great quarterback? Great quarterback. Is it Joe Namath?
Namath.
Guys don't come
yes,
around
of course.
every like few years. They come around decades, plural decades.
That's right.
So this is the first time in decades that the Bills have been thinking about the future. That they're like, wow, the Patriots just ran 2 decades of the AFC East. Now it's our time. And they've also got these other, Goodell came out and said it's time to get a new stadium. So I think there's some other factors, like larger NFL league factors, that help sort of like give him a little extra security. Like, this is our squad, we're going to be good. But Nick, when you have an opportunity to get a franchise quarterback, and you've just been swimming in murkiness since the Jim Kelly era, I think you jump at it. So overall, I think this is a bargain.
But to me, that's a bit of a false choice, Wilds, because they already had Josh Allen. And he had 2 more years left on his contract, and then the opportunity to franchise tag him, you really want to, for another 2 years. If they wanted to kick this can all the way down the road, they could have waited 4 years. Certainly could have waited 2 years, and I would argue probably should have waited 1 year. Because, listen, let me say this. The vast majority of NFL teams that just had the year from Josh Allen, if he was on their team, would give him this deal. This is what teams do with quarterbacks they draft in the first round who pop or play really well. They pay them early. It's exactly what the Eagles did, and they regretted it almost instantaneously. It's exactly what the Rams did, and they regretted it almost instantaneously. And it's what the Texans did. They didn't regret it instantaneously, but now they feel very questionable about it for other reasons. It's, I think, why the Ravens and the Browns, same draft class. Lamar certainly has played at the level Josh Allen has played at. In fact, he's played at a higher level for a longer period of time. Baker hasn't been quite to that level, but's been good. They're waiting. And maybe they were waiting on the Josh Allen number to come in, or maybe they were waiting on seeing it for another year. And so I understand folks be like, Nick, you thought the Chiefs did great with Mahomes. Yes, because there was no question about Mahomes. Mahomes didn't have one great year. He was great from jump, and he had won a Super Bowl. And by the way, Mahomes signed a far more team-friendly deal than the one Josh Allen just signed. As far as a team-building perspective, I don't know that it's smart to pay the outlier year early and get nothing in return. It's not like, okay, we're going to pay you early, but it's going to be $38 million. Nope, top of the market, $43 million. Yeah. We're going to pay you early, but they got no discounts on any of it. And so it's risky. Now, I'm not trying to pick on the Bills, Greg, because I do think almost every team in the league would have done it, because we haven't seen teams be like, nope, quarterbacks, we need to see more from you, except for, I guess, the Cowboys kind of with Dak, and then Dak ended up getting a great deal from them. They're the one example, but he wasn't a first-round pick. They always seemed a little, skeptical, questionable. And so if I'm the Bills, I'd have waited another year. They went another route with it and said they paid him like he is going to consistently be a top 3 quarterback. For this contract to work, Greg, he has to be a top 3 quarterback in this league year in, year out.
I don't think he has to be top 3. I think he has to be top 5, which I believe he will be, as long as he has the support of the general manager and everyone putting pieces around him, which he does, which is, again, let's be real, that's how you have success. If you want to win, you better support the most important piece to your puzzle, and that's the quarterback. And so, yes, Wilds, you can look at the Green Bay Packers and say, what in the world are they thinking? Because they've had it laid out to them as simple, like with no questions And you messed that up as an organization. The Buffalo Bills, to your point, they have not seen anything like Josh Allen since Jim Kelly, since that departure.
That's
and
right.
so when you haven't tasted that at that position and you've come so close and you've had so many up and down and terrible seasons, you jump at that opportunity. I agree with you 100%, Wild.
What the Packers, and by the way, I'm not one to necessarily defend how the Packers have done business, but I think it's apropos here. What the Packers might say is, yeah, and it gets a lot harder to support the quarterback the way Josh Allen was supported once they are paid the way Aaron Rodgers has been paid. And now Josh Allen is getting paid more than Aaron Rodgers has ever been paid, and that's why this scout said you got 2 years. And I'm not saying their window's only 2 years, but once this contract starts to really escalate, it's got a $51 million cap in it, and midway through it gets much more difficult to go out and get the Stephon Diggs of that year's offseason.
Around him, yep. All right, let's talk about the guy that Josh Allen knocked out of the playoffs last season, Lamar Jackson. Lamar's been nothing short of dynamic in his first 3 seasons, but has the league figured him out headed into year 4? We'll talk about that next. First things first.